Family drama has always been a constant in our household, but things took a sharp turn when my sister decided to make a public jab at a sensitive spot in my life. I wasn't about to let it go unanswered. Let me set the scene. I'm 27, male, and my relationship with my older sister Sarah, 30, has always been a bit of a tug of war. Growing up, it felt like everything was a contest she was determined to win. Even as adults, that competitive streak didn't fade much. A few months back, at a family gathering in our backyard, Sarah seized the moment to crack a stinging joke in front of everyone about whether my kid was really mine. My wife and I had worked through some rough patches early in our relationship, but we'd put that behind us. It wasn't something I wanted dragged into the open, yet Sarah thought it'd be a riot to air it out. The joke fell flat. My parents gave awkward chuckles. A few guests tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, and I sat there, fighting to keep my cool. Later that night, I pulled Sarah aside and told her the remark was out of line. Her reply? It was just a joke. Chill out. So when an invitation to her baby's gender reveal party landed in my inbox, I hesitated about showing up. But then a plan started forming. Maybe I could give her a taste of her own medicine. Nothing vicious, just sharp enough to make her think twice. The party was picture perfect, decked out in pink and blue streamers with games, desserts, and all the social media flair you'd expect. Halfway through, Sarah's husband gave a heartfelt toast, and then she called everyone to gather for the big moment. Right before they popped the balloon to reveal pink or blue confetti, I saw my chance. With a big smile, I said, "Before we see if it's a boy or girl, maybe we should double-check if Sarah's husband is the dad." The room went silent. A few nervous laughs broke through, but the vibe shifted hard. Sarah's face drained of color and her husband looked stunned. My parents shot me horrified looks. I quickly added, "Hey, just kidding, relax." The exact words she'd tossed at me months earlier. The rest of the party was tense. They popped the balloon, it was a girl. But the joy was muted. Sarah didn't say a word to me for the rest of the night. A few days later, I got a long text from her saying I'd humiliated her in front of her friends and family. I texted back, "Now you know how it feels. Petty? Sure. Regret it? Not entirely." The aftermath of the gender reveal hit fast. My phone lit up for days. Messages poured in from relatives, some backed me, others thought I'd gone too far. Most ended with, "You two need to figure this out." Sarah and I didn't speak for 2 weeks. During that time, my mom called me twice, trying to mediate. She didn't excuse Sarah's barbecue jab, but felt my timing was harsh. My dad, though, just said, "Maybe she'll watch her mouth now." Eventually, Sarah reached out, not with an apology, but with a request to meet for coffee, to talk like grown-ups. I agreed, partly out of curiosity and partly because, well, she's still my sister. We met at a quiet cafe, new to both of us, like neutral territory. Sarah looked worn but resolute. She started with, "I've been thinking, and maybe I crossed a line first." That caught me off guard. She admitted that when she made the paternity jab, she thought it'd be a harmless laugh. She hadn't realized how much it hurt, and said it was childish to use something so personal as a punchline. I appreciated her candor, even if it came late. Then she flipped it. "But what you said," she continued, "made me feel exposed in front of everyone. It wasn't just a joke. It made people wonder." I nodded, owning it. "That was the point," I said. "Not to wound you, but to show you what it's like when someone makes your private life a public game." Silence hung between us. Then, unexpectedly, she said, "Fair point." No big hug, no cinematic makeup scene. But we agreed on one thing. No more low blows, no more personal digs in front of others. Some family fights drag on forever, but we both saw we'd hit a breaking point and neither of us wanted to keep wading through the mess. Since then, things have improved. Sarah invited me to her baby shower and I showed up. No quips, just a thoughtful gift and a genuine smile. We're not suddenly inseparable, but we're civil, which is all I ever really wanted. Sometimes a little chaos is what it takes to clear the tension. Time sped up after the baby shower. Sarah's due date loomed, and I kept my distance, unsure of my place. We'd patched things up somewhat, but some strain lingered. I didn't expect to be super involved when the baby arrived, and I was fine with that. Then, one rainy day, my phone pinged. "She's here. Healthy. 6 pounds, 7 ounces. Attached was a photo of a tiny newborn in a pink blanket, her face all scrunched up and adorable. I stared at it, then texted back, "She's perfect." "Congrats, sis." To my surprise, Sarah replied, "Come meet her." Room 312. I hesitated. Walking into that hospital room felt like stepping into uncharted waters. But I went. When I got there, Sarah looked drained but glowing. Her husband held the baby and gave me a warm nod. I braced for a chilly vibe, maybe a stiff greeting, but instead, Sarah waved me over. "She's so small, isn't she?" she said softly. I nodded, at a loss for words. What's her name? Ellie. The room fell quiet. Then, with a playful smirk, Sarah said, "And yeah, we're positive about the dad." We both cracked up. It was the kind of laugh we hadn't shared in ages. Real, warm, unguarded. That little quip, light and self-aware, felt like closing a loop. We weren't wiping away the past, but we were moving beyond it. In the weeks that followed, I got more involved than I expected. Running errands, grabbing coffee, even rocking Ellie so Sarah could catch a quick nap. Bit by bit, our dynamic shifted. We still traded sarcastic remarks. It's who we are. But the sharpness was gone. The rivalry, the need to outdo each other, faded as something deeper took hold. Family. One day, as I handed Ellie back after tackling a messy diaper, Sarah said, "You're going to be an awesome dad to your kid. I'm sorry for that joke, for real. I didn't need the apology by then, but it still hit me." I smiled. "And you're going to be a killer mom, even if she gets your sass." She rolled her eyes, but I saw the smile she tried to hide. Maybe that's what having a sibling is, learning to clash, break apart, and find your way back. Maybe we're not supposed to be flawless with each other. Maybe it's enough to just show up, sometimes late, sometimes messy, but always ready to try again. Months rolled by, and life found a new rhythm. Sarah stepped into motherhood with a strength I hadn't quite seen in her before. Sure, there were sleepless nights and the occasional freakout, but she handled it with grit. Ellie grew fast, her little giggles and toothless grins stealing the show at family gatherings. And something else shifted too. Our relationship, once fueled by barbs and envy, settled into something solid. We talked more, not just about Ellie or small talk, but real stuff. We even chuckled about our past. Though we never pretended it was fine, we just moved forward. At Christmas dinner, my wife leaned over and whispered, "You and Sarah are actually getting along. I love it." And she was right. That night, we didn't bicker or snipe. We swapped stories, passed plates, and actually enjoyed each other's company. Looking back, I think our feud had to flare up that badly to fizzle out. We needed to cross a boundary to learn where the boundary was. Her joke hurt because it poked at a scar I hadn't fully healed. My retaliation stung because it made her feel exposed. But through that messy, raw fallout, we finally saw each other clearly, not as rivals, but as people with our own struggles. The moment that sealed it, though, came on Ellie's first birthday. Sarah handed me a small wrapped gift. Inside was a mug that read, "World's Snarkiest Uncle." I laughed so hard I almost dropped it. "You earned it," she said, grinning. So yeah, we're still sharp-tongued, still stubborn, still us, but we've learned that beneath the teasing and rivalry, there's something stronger: respect, forgiveness, and a bond we both had to earn in our own messy way. Not every sibling story ends in peace. Ours just found its way there. If this story resonated with you, give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe for more. Thanks for reading, and I'll catch you in the next one.